This podcast contains explicit content not suitable for listeners under the age of 18. Parental discretion is advised.
Today's episode is going to be the after event of our Holiday Hearts event here in Colorado. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to David.
Yes, let's get right to the questions. I want to know everything about how the Holiday Hearts event went. Tell me everything.
So first, man, I gotta say, when we first got the location, the spot, it was way, way, way out in the country. Like, I didn't realize how far out we was gonna be going.
For those of us in Colorado, that would be Bailey, Colorado.
Anyway, it was beautiful though. Like the little hotel resort place that we went to that hosted the event for us.
It was Glen Isle Resort.
Shout out to Glen Isle Resort.
Yes, they
Absolutely
provided
beautiful.
the location for free.
That was love.
Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful location. They got these little cottages and things out there right by the river, tucked right into the mountains. It was a beautiful, beautiful location. And of course, I went out there in dress shoes, unprepared for walking down a dirt road, and dress pants. And
there was horses and donkeys. So he was like, I'm really dressed wrong right now.
completely underdressed.
Actually, overdressed.
Underdressed, overdressed, something.
He was not properly dressed. Yeah. for the atmosphere, we'll say.
Yeah.
But you know, it was a really good time when the kids first came in, man. They were they really seemed kind of uneasy, especially by me. And it could have just been me taking it wrong, but I was the only man there, so they seemed a little uneasy when they first came in. And then as other kids started showing up, that they knew that they recognized each other and they knew each other from you know, things that they had went through together at the same time. And that kind of broke the ice for them, that they were able to come together in this environment after the fact, after everything that they went through, going through the shelter and all that stuff. They come together and they were able to just be kids and play and design these t-shirts and eat cookies.
And for some of the kids and families, this is the first time they were meeting again since those times, if that makes sense. So they were nervous, but really excited at the same time to see everybody.
And, you know, I just sat down and was chilling. And I had learned how to make roses out of toilet paper while I was in prison. So I was teaching the kids how to make these roses out of toilet paper. And I showed them how to take a pen and a highlighter and turn it into like a airbrush, right? So they could airbrush their little designs or airbrush their roses after they were done making them. And there was one kid in particular, man, it seemed like all they wanted to do was just sit there and talk to me, right? Like they were just genuinely curious about me and who this man was that was coming there to let them make these t-shirts and put these art things together, because we had got little so they could make bracelets and like personalized bracelets and t-shirts to go with the t-shirts, right?
So they had the whole setup. Yeah,
man, it was probably the best thing that has happened to me since I've been out.
Now, just to let you guys know, there was 3 tables. There was the arts and crafts tables where they were doing the origami's with, like, you know, the flowers and, you know, just making different things like stars and stuff like that. Then there was a table for the jewelry, you know, the jewelry sets where they were making bracelets and necklaces and things like that. And then there was my table, and that was the t-shirt table where they were pretty much designing their t-shirts and then just dropping them off and then running back to the other tables. So, you know, there was a couple that kind of hung out and talked to me as well. But let me tell you, there was at one point I looked over and I'm not even joking. There was 14 kids there, and they were all just flocked around his table, just all like engaged and excited, and just a flurry of activity and creativity. And he was just in the middle of it all. You know what I'm saying? It was so cool. And I was like, that's pretty cool, because they don't really get a lot of positive male role models. And that's something that even one of our co-collaborators had said at the very end. She had tears in her eyes. She was almost crying when she looked at him and said, thank you for, being such a positive role model and being here today, because she was like, you don't really understand the impact that it has on these kids to have that positive male role model, and to just, and you could tell, because they, like I said, they just flocked to him like moths to a light,
And I'm talking to these kids there, and I'm asking, and I remember two of them specifically. They said to me, I was asking them what they wanted to be when they grow up, and these is kids that's going through, real hardships, but they still have big dreams, right? One said, she said, I want to be an astrologer, right? And then the other one said that they wanted to be a marine biologist, right? These are young kids, right? I think
with big dreams.
With big dreams, going through some of the hardest things that they probably could ever go through, or have just gone through those things, and they still have so much heart, and there's still so much light in them. And that's what I'm trying to really call out. Like, why aren't we really, look at these kids are the ones who are going to change the world.
And there was still so much like love and positivity in them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really didn't take that much for them to just be overflowing with joy and excitement. I mean, by the time the event was over, some of them were wearing the shirts they had just designed and was running around, feeding the horses and just being kids, just skipping down the road. Like, it was really good to see.
And I was
Hey, listen, let me ask this question.
What's up?
Hearing y'all talk like this, both of you, it makes me want to know more. What did it do for y'all? Like, what did it do for your spirit? Because it seemed like it really did something for both of you too. Talk about that a little bit.
I mean, it really did a lot for me, because personally, I knew what it was like to be those kids going through the shelters and things like that, right? And like I said before, I never knew that some of these mediums of art were even a thing. I talked to one kid, they were telling me about, they like to crochet, right? And you should have seen their face. I was like, yeah, I crochet too. Like, what? Yeah, I crochet too, man. I like making teddy bears and things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just really filled my heart up. The only critique we got from the whole thing, because I was kind of concerned that we weren't going to have enough for the kids, because I really wanted to just overwhelm these kids with just love and just opportunity to have fun and be creative. And I was worried that we weren't going to be able to pull it together to have enough for them. And they just seemed, they were so grateful, right? By the end of it, they were making paper airplanes and throwing them around, and man, and they were ragging me so hard, because I can't make paper airplanes. I tried though, you know what I mean? I gave it my best effort, but it just didn't. It crashed. They threw it. It went straight to the ground. They were like, really bad, and just started and were making fun of me. I'm like, okay, but I did get a compliment, right? I asked a couple of the kids how old they were, and they were telling me their age, and trying to be funny and break the ice. When we first got there, I was like, I'm just old, right? And the kids said, well, let me guess, 26. So I took it as a compliment. It was probably an insult, because if he thinks 26 is old, I'm 35.
What about you, Jennifer? What did it do for you? How did it make you feel? Like, what did it do for you?
So for me, it was just, you know what I mean? Like just being able to see these kids, just like the laughter and the giggling and, you know what I mean? Like just being able to like have a moment, it just made my heart so full. Like I honestly, even after the event, I just didn't have the words to really explain how happy my heart was. It was just so full, if that makes sense. Like I have felt like my cup had been filled and ran over, if that makes sense.
Can I tell you what that's called? Kinetic energy. Like you literally were feeding positivity to and from each other.
And it was just
When
like
you,
so much, just it was just an abundance, you know what I mean? And it was just such a beautiful moment, you know. And we didn't take any pictures. Like we only took pictures in the beginning. We were like, oh my gosh, at the end we were like, we didn't take any pictures. Thankfully our collaborators took photos during the process and shared them with us, but we were
that's beautiful.
just so into the moment and
Yeah.
just really like
Well,
connecting that we
to,
didn't even think to stop and take
to
pictures,
be
you
fair,
know.
it was just Jennifer and myself.
Yes.
Our other volunteer wasn't able to make it, and we weren't able to acquire any other volunteers. So it was just Jennifer and myself. And for me, trying to engage 100% as much as I can with the kids, and her trying to do her best to keep the t-shirts running smoothly. You know,
And
there's only so
engaging and
much.
talking, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I
All
mean,
right.
that was the critique we did get from the parents was just maybe having a couple more volunteers to kind of help
Yeah.
with the events. You know what I
And
mean?
Right.
and
Right.
bring paint.
And paint. That the kids' critique was bring paint, but we did have paint, but we didn't give it to them until the end. So it might be something that we look at incorporating and putting in the arts and crafts table and just bringing, you know, like paints or even the spray can. That's something we talked about is there's actual like spray cans that we can do, and we could show them how to do like spray art, like fabric
Yeah.
on the sheets and stuff. You
Yeah.
know, with the
Yeah.
stencils, and then that way, hey, instead of us, I mean, it just makes it something else, right? Just something different.
All right. So now that we can consider that a definite success, tell me
Yeah.
what other events you have planned.
Okay. Beautiful question, man. So we are actually, of course, talking to Peaceworks about going back again next year and collabing with them, and hopefully we'll have even more participants next year. Um, we also, Jennifer and myself, we just went and tore a an orphanage here, and we're in talks with them about putting together a partnership where we can collab and bring our Holiday Hearts event to them. Everyone likes that we show up, we put it together, we take it apart. All you have to do is provide your location and whatever staff you want to be there to supervise. But everything else is completely provided by us, so they really like that. I also talked to them about putting together because the orphanages actually they have a whole fitness program in their school and everything where once a week the kids are required to engage in CrossFit training. It was a community like I'd never seen before. I told them anything they needed me to do, I would be there to help them in any way because their community is beautiful. It's not it's homes. I mean, there's a lot of I think the one home had 9 kids in it total,
Right.
and two live-in parents, and they have husband and wife teams that live in the home. So it's all family and community orchestrated, right? So all the kids they go to school together, they go um everything is all right there on the compound for them, right? And I really, really liked how they were everything that they were doing. So I was like, look, anything y'all need me for, I'm there. So we're hoping to do Holiday Hearts with them. And we're in talks with another organization out here in Colorado to see if we can schedule something for next year. We talked to them this year, but they had said it was too late in the year and their calendar was full. So we're hoping to get with them this on in 2026 and do something with them. So that'll be 3 organizations here in Colorado. And the orphanage, for example, that's typically 25 kids, right? Peaceworks were looking around the same number of kids or more. And I don't know how things will go with the other organization we're speaking to, how many families or kids we're looking at with them, but probably around the same amount of number. Um, so that's all in the plans just for the Holiday Hearts, because our Holiday Hearts event is just an annual event, right? To shine a light on these kids that's going through abuse and homelessness and hardship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's just our annual thing with them, and there's 3 organizations already like, yeah, please, we can't. We're starting to get some feedback, and Jennifer had to step away for a second, but when she get back, she can tell you some of the feedback that we got, some of the actual quotes, post event quotes we got from not only the our co-host, but
Right.
from Peaceworks, but from also the families, the mothers and the children.
That's beautiful.
And I'm gonna tell you, all of them gave us 5 stars and said they're coming back. They if
That's
we have
beautiful.
when they would love to come back, they would love to be a part of it. Um, they love making the t-shirts, right? But man, it was beautiful.
I I got another question.
What's up?
What about the one we supposed to hook up with in Virginia? The
So
Holiday Hearts event.
all right, so that's unfortunately I got some bad news about the Virginia event.
All right. So what's up?
Apparently, the event coordinator for the organization that we have been advertising this holiday, our Holiday Hearts event for in December, apparently, I don't really want to speak negatively of them because I don't know, I don't have all the information, but apparently they were the only ones who were aware of our Holiday Heart event, and for whatever reason they were on leave or something happened. They're not there anymore. And when we contacted the shelter itself to get some numbers, how many families, how many kids, is that
Right.
30 boys, girls, um, they told us that they didn't know anything about it, that nobody had ever heard of it. So I'm like, well, hold on. I got all these emails, and I told them who I've been talking to, and they were like, well, you know what, let me get the assistant director. I'm gonna call you back. So the assistant director called me back, and I spoke to her, and she hadn't heard anything about it. She looked it up and seen the emails that I had been sending. Um, they did everything they could to try and make it happen, but this was last week when I spoke to her, and the event's December 8th. So they were like,
Right.
we're not going to be able to facilitate that on such short notice. We need to get background checks, fingerprints, things like that on anybody who comes into the facility, understandably, because a lot of these individuals are on the run, right? So I was like, well, it doesn't have to be individuals necessarily in the shelter. Now we're speaking of those who have recently went through your program and are gotten out, right?
Right.
And they were like, well, it's just too short notice. We can't facilitate that right now. So maybe next year we're hoping, but
Yeah.
not so sure. It was complete lack of communication between their previous event coordinator and the upper management is all that it was. And now, but it's okay because now we have
Yeah.
a
'Cause,
next year.
no, that ain't on us. All we can keep doing is the good work, right? That would just sound like, just like you said, a miscommunication or lack of communication on their part, but not on ours, not on yours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
So
did
Jen,
all the proper, you did all the proper work.
yeah,
That's what I'll
Jen,
say about that.
absolutely, I agree with you 100%. But Jen, back now, I'm gonna get her to pull up some of these stats, some of these post event quotes from the families, right? So I just want
Well,
to share those
we
with
can
you.
only share some of them. We cannot share all of them. So
Yeah, I know, but we can share from the
yeah, the
collaborators,
ones.
our co-hosts.
Give me
Okay.
one. Yeah.
But I wanted you specifically to hear these, right? Because man, you've been helping us in a big way, helping us get this happen.
All right. So now they will say that the feedback we have gotten, and it has been more than one, we did get an overall experience of a 5-star rating. It is consistent there. And then the favorite part of the event was, my favorite part of the event was the interactions with everyone and watching my kids and others enjoy themselves and connecting with them while doing the different projects. I think this is truly an inspiring opportunity for families who have been through so much and the trauma that has impacted families and their children. It gives them a safe space to be themselves and connect with each other on a different level that doesn't happen as often as it should, end quote. And then the next thing, it just says, anything we can do better next time. They just said, I think everything was great. I think finding a few others willing to volunteer, setting up more project tables to give more space for those with multiple kids would help. Would love to help how I can when I'm able to. So there you go. That's one of the things we talked about is that, people that come through our programs turning around and becoming and help and, like coming like we did full circle and being that on the other side. Does that make sense?
And that's
Yeah.
how we feel, right?
Exactly.
And I was speaking to a dear friend of mine today, and she was telling me she was having a hard time, right, with the anxiety, and she's doing everything she can to keep herself and keep it from taking over, right? And she was like, man, this happens to me often, right? A couple times a week. And I'm like, well, you know what? That's healing. Because we get our central nervous system, this as a fitness instructor and a personal trainer, that our central nervous system will become adapted to a thing where that can become its resting state, even if it's unhealthy. So if you're left in a state of fear and anxiety and right, just unknowingness all the time, your central nervous system is constantly jacked, and that becomes your resting state, right? So when you start to heal, you're going to have bouts of anxiety where you're like, man, I don't even know why I feel like this. Everything seems to be going good, but why I had these negative thoughts. That's because that's your resting state. When you've lived in years of this, right? And it
Can I tell
takes,
you what I call it? Because I relate completely to you. I call it you have to deprogram before you reprogram, right?
exactly. Yeah.
And the deprogramming part, that's the part that leaves you in that anxiety state because even though you just like you said, you've gotten used to being in a negative state. So that
Yep.
deprogramming of saying, "Oh, I can't be in the state," like you said, that causes issues because you got to deprogram before you reprogram. So I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. So that's kind of how we got to go about it, right? That's the only really way we could do it. And the only way I feel when you've been hurt by loved ones, right? When you've been hurt by a society or a system that you trust or believed in, when you've been hurt by people that you trust, right? When you've been let down or disappointed, all of us can say these things for the most part, right? The only way you really get past those things is by connecting with people and loving people, right? Loving yourself.
Right?
Because the only way you can really love yourself is to love other people, right? So I put on these events and I'm like, man, I could show y'all, hey, I'm not perfect by no means as a man. Look at me. Look at my record. Look how I look. Look how, you know what I mean, how I talk. There's a lot of prejudice I'm met with, right? because people don't know me. They just know what they see or what they read. And I put on these events and I'm able to bring people together. They ain't even got to connect with me. It don't matter. It ain't about me. Right? They was able to connect with each other on another level. Outside of the shelter, outside of the abuse, outside of the fear, outside of the trauma. They was able to connect on that level.
And reconnect with some people.
And that's something different, right? That's how you begin to heal. Right? Because now I'm be able to create a community, and I don't know if any of them are gonna continue stay in contact after this event or whatever. I don't know, right? But if I'm able to create some type of community to help them get past it, right? Overall, that's helping society. That's helping all of us.
But I even told Jesse, even to the point of like just creating a moment. I said, you think these kids won't remember this moment? I was like, because just think about it when you were a kid. If you had the same thing, and I told him, I was like, he going through the same thing at that age, if you were able to attend an event like what we put on, like, would you remember it? You know what I'm saying? Especially when you had things to take away from it. And Jesse was like, yeah, I probably would remember it. You know what I'm saying? So it does have lasting effect because it has moments of light in times of darkness,
It provides hope.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're here for, right? That's all we can do is provide hope.
And just rebuild community, you know what I mean?
Because that's another thing this Holiday Hearts event does, right? Because the places I'm trying to reach with this, right? I could be teaching a whole nother hustle to kids besides one that could lead to them dying or in prison. It's a whole nother hustle in art, man. If you got some type of talent, you know how many kids out there right now got even the slightest amount of talent, artistic ability, and their ambition, their hustling them, what they could do with that.
If they thought it was in a legitimate form, you know what I mean? Like a legitimate avenue. Because to a lot of kids, they're told by their parents, oh, art isn't going to pay. You know what I'm saying? Get a real job. But that's not true. Art does pay nowadays. You know what I mean?
And don't forget about just the therapeutic part of it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Take the monetary out. Just think about the therapeutic part of what it does for the individual.
Mm-hmm.
It heals. It really does.
And for a lot of people, they get a lot of those dark feelings out onto the canvas, so that, you know what I mean? It's a way of releasing those things, you know what I'm saying? Into a more healthy, in a healthier way.
I could tell you myself, man, I can't tell you the times in prison that I was mad about something that I had absolutely no control over, something that staff did or a CO did or somebody else had did on the outside or something. I can't tell you. I'd just be mad or upset and not really want to do anything, especially paint. But I'd be commissioned. Somebody might have paid me for a piece. I got to produce it. You know what I mean? I got to get on it. And even though I don't feel like doing it, I don't want to do it, just getting down there and doing it because I know when I have to, man, about 2-3 hours in, my whole mindset is different. My whole attitude has changed. Right? Like that is something.
You know what that's called in sports? You in a zone.
Well, I was going to say, you find peace, you find calm, you know what I mean? In the strokes and the repetition, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you get in a zone and you just kind of zone out for a little while. And that is a place where you're at peace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I might be 3, 4, 5 hours, man, working on something, working on a pen. And the whole time I got my music on and I'm not locked up. You know what I mean? I'll be at the level 2. I'm in the cut. So I can see everybody. I got my back to the wall so I can see everybody so I can wear both headphones.
Yeah.
Right? So I can see everything that's going on around me the whole time, but I can zone the hell out, right? And just be out of there.
You
and
can be
that was
safe and zone out.
yeah.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
But so I'm hoping, man. I really, really hope next year that you're able to make it to the to at least one of the events. We're gonna be having them all through November and December. So if you're hearing this and you're interested, man, reach out. If we can help the kids and we can introduce your kids, I don't care where you at, right? If your kid you in a city, your kids is struggling with addiction, uh, uh, right? They at risk of joining gangs, whoever they are, right? If they in the country and they just bored to death and they're depressed, I don't care. If the kids is struggling, man, November and December we hosting our Holiday Hearts event, man. And if you are interested in us introducing your kids to different mediums of art, right? Showing them that there are other ways to deal with those negative thoughts and those negative emotions. And even for some of them, man, if they want to make some money off of it, right? Reach out to us, man. Let us know, man.
Because I was gonna
Right.
say, right now we are confirmed that Peaceworks wants to work with us again next year, so they will be in our 2026 lineup. We'll probably do it at the same location. Obviously, it's a private event, so there won't be any kind of details until after the fact of the event, if that makes sense. However, we do have two organizations that we are looking to in Colorado that we're looking to add to our 2026 as well. So we have a possibility of 2 to 3 events already scheduled for 2026. So it's exciting, even though it's kind of sad that, our Virginia event fell through. We are excited for moving forward because we already are having people that's like, yes, we love this. We want to do this. Bring this here.
And,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all,
you keeping it moving. You're not
Mhm.
letting the Virginia slow you down.
and
Yeah.
also next year,
Yeah.
man, next year we looking at having this auction, man. We're trying to get participants who are interested in bringing awareness to domestic violence and the effects that it has on not only the body but the mind and the emotions as well for the victims and the kids that witness it, right? So we trying to collect any kind of art that we can to anybody who wants to be a participant and bring awareness to this. This is a real subject that needs to have this light shined on it, right? And then
And
we're gonna host that next year, and
well, that's what I was going to
hopefully
say in
we can have that.
October.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can have that help us support these events, man, to show these kids that
Mhm.
there's other ways to deal with this stuff, man.
So the auction's going to go for the entire month of October. So it'll start October 1st and then it'll close on October 31st of every year. And then those proceeds will help to fund the Holiday Hearts events in November and December. So we'll collect artwork all year long and then we'll host the auction starting October 1st through the end of the month. And then because
And
the whole month is domestic violence awareness. So we're going to
Yes.
celebrate the month with an auction.
and each year I'm
That's
gonna make
beautiful.
Holiday Hearts bear. I'm gonna have that little Holiday Hearts teddy bear, man. Each year I'm gonna make one.
Just one of one.
That's
That's
beautiful. That's beautiful.
And it's going to be a part of the auction.
That's what's
So
up.
the auction is right now, the auction is still live. Since we did have our Virginia event canceled, we extended the auction to December 15th. So then, we are encouraging people to share the auction, you know what I mean, and to bid because all of the bids will go towards our 2026 events. So
It
So
sounds
David, is there
beautiful.
any other questions that you wanted about the Holiday Hearts events? Or is there anything you
Now,
wanted to say to the listeners before we?
as we're like starting to wrap up, I would just say that I will make sure that I will personally be there, flesh and blood, for the next event. I was hoping for Virginia because I'm in the DMV area. That would have made it easier. But you let me know the next event, and I promise I'm gonna make sure I get to Colorado.
Perfect. And then hopefully we'll be able to get some funders between now and then, because up to this point, Holiday Hearts has only been able to be run because of donations from, Ronin Project board members and just donations in general. If it wasn't for the donations from our donors, then we wouldn't have even been able to put on the event this year. So a shout out to everybody helping to share the fundraisers, because that's really what made this event happen. If it wasn't for that, due to the government shutdown and all the other things, you know what I mean? Funding was just locked up. And if we didn't come together as a community, then this event wouldn't have happened. So I'm glad that it did happen. I'm just hoping we don't have to work quite so hard next year. And hopefully, people can see the value of this campaign.
Yes, show us love on the donations, please.
So my final thoughts, man, anything I just wanted people to know would be, this is real, right? We help families heal, man. That's how we help our society heal. That's how we add value to life, right? That's how we give meaning to life. When you give a kid purpose, hope, right? Something to look forward to. That's the difference right there. And I just encourage any of you, but look, if you think I'm bullshitting, volunteer, sign up next year, come be a part of it, come see for yourself. All right? That's all.
That's where we'll pause for today. Thank you for being part of this space, for listening, reflecting, and holding these conversations with us. If something stayed with you or stirred something new, we'd love to hear it. Your voice matters here. If there's a story you think we should tell or a question we should sit with, reach out. This is a shared journey, one conversation at a time.